Think about those final words. The last advice someone really important leaves behind. There's just a real weight to that, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. It's often their core message, boiled down, what they desperately want people to remember.
And that kind of weight is exactly what we're getting into today. We're doing a deep dive into the 23rd chapter of the book of Joshua, his farewell address.
Right. The scene is, well, it's quite striking. Joshua is old, his time is nearly up. Israel finally has some rest from all the fighting.
Okay.
So he gathers everyone, the leaders, the elders, judges, officers, the key people.
So he's got them all there. What's the first thing? What does he hit them with right at the start?
He starts with memory. He basically says, look, you saw everything the Lord your God did. He makes it personal, undeniable, getting the land, winning battles.
Yeah.
It wasn't them. It was God fighting for them. That's the foundation.
Okay, so it's like establishing the ground rules first.
Yeah.
Remember how you got here. Remember who did the heavy lifting.
Exactly, because everything he's about to tell them to do hinges on that reality. It's not just, a history lesson.
Right, which brings us to the instructions for the future. What's the main command?
The absolute core is faithfulness to God's law. He says, be very strong and careful to obey all that is written in the book of the law of Moses.
All of it.
All of it. And crucially, without turning aside to the right or to the left, no compromises, total commitment.
And that connects directly to this warning about the other nations still around them, right?
Yeah.
What's the deal there?
Yes. And he's incredibly specific. Do not associate with them. Don't get mixed up.
So, socially?
Yeah.
Religiously?
Both, it seems. Don't invoke their gods' names. Don't swear by them. Don't serve them. Definitely don't bow down to them. It's a complete fear wall he wants them to build.
So avoid the people to avoid the influence, essentially.
Yeah.
He sees that mingling as dangerous.
He absolutely does. And the positive command is the flip side. Hold fast to the Lord your God. Actively cling to God, like they had been doing.
Okay, hold fast. That sounds active, intentional.
It is. And then he reminds them why this is the smart move. He brings up God's power again.
Ah, right. The whole one of you chasing 1,000 idea.
Exactly that image. One of you could rout 1,000 because the Lord your God fights for you. It refocuses where their real power comes from. It's God's presence.
Okay, so strength in obedience, separation from other influences, holding fast. But then he kind of sums it up even more concisely, doesn't he?
He does. It feels like the heart of the matter.
Yep.
Be very careful to love the Lord your God.
Love. So obedience and separation aren't just rules. They're meant to come from love.
That seems to be the driving force, yes. Careful, intentional love for God.
But, there's a flip side, a really serious warning attached. What happens if they don't hold fast?
Well, that's where it gets incredibly sobering. If they do turn away, if they start associating, intermarrying, getting tangled up with the nations,
Then what?
then God's protection, that divine power fighting for them, it stops. The Lord will no longer drive those nations out.
Okay, so God steps back. And those nations,
They become the punishment. The language is, frankly, brutal. Snares, traps, whips on their backs, thorns in their eyes, constant torment from within,
wow.
until ultimately they perish from this good land that God gave them.
So the very people God helped them overcome become the tools of their downfall if they disobey. And Joshua says this knowing he's dying, right? Going the way of all the earth.
Yes, his death is imminent, which adds this real urgency. But he balances the warning with this powerful reminder of God's faithfulness so far.
Right. He says, not one good promise has failed.
Every single one came true. He wants them to know God keeps his word.
Which makes the next part even heavier.
Exactly, because he says, just as surely as all the good things happen, if you break the covenant, God will just as surely bring all the bad things he threatened.
So blessings and curses are equally certain, depending on their choices.
Completely. It's cause and effect, rooted in the covenant.
And the ultimate bottom line. If they serve other gods, break that covenant.
Swift destruction. The Lord's anger will burn, and they will quickly perish from the land. Expelled from the promise.
Okay, so let's synthesize this. Joshua's final plea is, remember what God did, obey his law fully, stay separate, hold fast, love God, do this, and you get God's continued blessing and power. Fail, turn away, and face guaranteed disaster, ultimately losing the land itself.
It's about as clear a choice and as stark a set of consequences as you can imagine. Total fidelity versus total ruin.
So for you listening, think about that. This ancient call to hold fast to a core commitment, and the idea that entanglement with other things could lead to, well, disaster,
Right.
What does that resonate with for you? How does this idea of fidelity and consequence play out in the choices you face today? Something to chew on.